Hey guys, chapter 19 of My Teacher Fried My Brains. Ugh. Hope you guys have been enjoying these videos. I like making them. Although I do have a lot of school, so it's hard to make them often. But I only have 2 or 3 or 4 more weeks of school. So I will have a lot more time on my hands after 2 weeks. Anyways, chapter 19, Playing the Field. So Duncan was in the force field, and Peter actually talked to him through his brain. And someone came in the attic, and he doesn't know who it is, but he couldn't. Well, he knows who it is, but we don't. He said he couldn't believe his eyes. Okay. Chapter 19, Playing the Field. The intruder walked over to the force field and placed her hands against it. "Hello, Duncan," she said. Even though my body couldn't move, my brain started to smile. If the breath of air I had taken after I climbed out of this dumpster was the best breath I ever took, Susan Simmons walking into the attic was the best sight I ever saw. "What are you doing here?" I thought again. "Looking for you, you goofball," she replied. "After I found your note in my locker, I was sure that you hadn't run away from home, no matter what anyone else said, so I started trying to track you down." "How'd you find me so quickly?" Susan gave me an odd look. "Duncan, I didn't find you quickly. You've been gone for over 3 weeks. I've been working like crazy to figure out what happened to you. Almost got myself killed a couple of times in the process." 3 weeks? I think my brain did something that was a little like screaming because she flinched back for a moment. "Sorry," I said when she put her hands back on the force field. "I didn't mean to do that, but you really surprised me. I had no idea I had been in here for so long. Can you get me out?" At one time, I would have been embarrassed to be rescued by a girl, but with my newly fried brain, I had examined the biomechanical structures of the male and the female, not to mention the underlying historical and economic situations that had led to our relative differences, I don't know. And I had come to the conclusion that women are a tough bunch, so that was okay. Susan looked worried. "I don't know how these things work, Duncan." "Great. I was found, but still lost, so to speak. At least, that was what I thought at first, until a voice whispered in my head. I know how to turn the thing off. By the way, tell Susan I said hello." "Peter!" cried Susan. "What are you doing here?" She looked around. "And where are you?" "You can hear him?" I asked in astonishment. "Of course I can. Where is he?" "I'm in space," replied Peter. Susan looked startled. "Then how come I can hear you?" She asked me. "I think it's because we're both connected to Duncan's brain through the force field. How are you, anyway? I missed you." "I'm fine, Peter. How about you?" "Sheesh. I was glad they were both here." Just kidding. It says, "Sheesh, I was glad they were both here, but I was beginning to feel a little like my head was a hotel room." I hoped nobody else was going to show up right away. I mean, I can understand why Peter and Susan wanted to talk, but I didn't particularly want them to use my head to do it. Fortunately, I didn't have to complain too much. They both knew that we had to get busy. "Susan, see if you can spot anything that looks like a control panel somewhere nearby," said Peter once they had finished greeting each other. "We've got to get Duncan out of this thing." "It's over to your left, Susan," I thought, remembering when I had seen Coville use it to begin with. Susan turned to look for it. "Got it," she said after a moment. "Good," said Peter. "Now describe it to me." Unfortunately, Susan couldn't hear him because she wasn't touching the force field anymore. I guess she figured out what she ought to do anyway, because she rattled off a long list of the things she saw on a control panel, which seemed to consist more of points to push than the knobs and dials and levers we're used to. I didn't have to repeat what she said, since Peter could hear whatever I heard. When she was done, he said, "Ask her if she can see a red spot in this second row of controls." "How?" "Crud. I forgot she can't hear you unless she touches the force field. Get her over here." "How?" I repeated, feeling incredibly helpless. "What do I do now?" asked Susan, then realizing what the problem was. She came over to touch the force field again. Peter repeated the instructions about the red spot. Susan returned to the control panel. Got it, she said. Do you want me to press it? Oh. She tried it back over to the force field. Do you want me to press it? Oh, no. She had to say that again. Yes, said Peter before she could even repeat the question. She returned to the control panel and did as he had told her. I waited eagerly for the force field to release me. Nothing happened. I wanted to cry, but of course my body was having none of that. Don't worry, Duncan, said Peter. That wasn't the release. We're just getting started. This is going to take a few minutes. Nothing happened, said Susan, putting her hands back on the force field. Don't worry, repeated Peter. This is a several-step process. How long is it going to take? Said Susan nervously. I don't want to be here when Miss Carpoo comes back. Her real name is Cleveland, I thought. I don't care if it's Kleenex. I don't want to be here. What next, Peter? He gave her another instruction. For several minutes it went on that way, with Susan moving back and forth from between the force field and the control panel while Peter told her what to do. I might as well have taken a nap for all the good I was doing. I began working an equation in my head to keep myself busy while the two of them fiddled with the force field. I got so involved with the math that I was a little surprised when I suddenly heard a soft zoop and found myself sitting on the floor. I'd landed with a thump, but the pain in my rump was right up there with the breath of air and the sight of Susan for piquant experiences. I was free at last. With the force field gone, I thought I was going to lose contact with Peter, but he was still there inside my brain. Of course, he said, your head is what we call a wetware, an organic machine. At the moment, you happen to be one of the most powerful communication devices in the galaxy, Duncan. Now listen. I've got some important stuff to tell you. There are big things happening up here, and you need to... Oh, no! The last words came as a shout of terror. Peter, what is it? I thought desperately. What's going on? That was chapter 19. But guys, there's 21 chapters in each book. So that means that there's 2 chapters left in the whole book. And then we're done with My Teacher From My Brains. And then we can move on to My Teacher Glows in the Dark, which is my favorite of the entire series. It's just really good. I just really like it. My eyes are watering. Anyways, so once again I'm going to say this. The next book I want to make an audiobook of is this book, The Proto Project. That's a Chihuahua. It's a timer. That's a medal. This is the title. That's who it's by. Brian R. Johnson. I also have this book right here. Oh my days. It just fell again. Little Legends, The Spell Thief. So, which one do you want to hear? I haven't read this one. I've read this one. Which one? In the comments. Little Legends or The Proto Project? Or Enola Holmes. I have Enola Holmes too. I also have this book right here. The Queen's Shadow. It's a Star Wars book. It's about Padme Amidala. Anyways, in the comments, which book do you want to hear? I also have Sherlock Holmes book with lots of different cases. So yeah.